Yo, what up, Street Talks? Eric Kim. Alright, Turbo Thoughts. So, talking about and thinking about via negativa information and knowledge. So, what do I mean by that? So, the basic idea and the concept and the gist is, what is the biggest benefit of studying history, studying philosophy, and so forth? So the first basic idea is, the biggest benefit is, it's kind of a via negativa thing where I'm always kind of curious, like, when it comes to history and knowledge and information, it's like, what concepts are not discussed and not concepts? And like, so for example, like, notions of regret are actually not really an ancient Greek philosophical notion. The heroes never have regrets and stuff like that. Heroes get sad, but regret's not really a concept. Now, why is this important? I think it's important because a lot of the concepts we currently have right now are like Western modern ones, and there are some modern notions which are good, some modern notions which I think are not so good and quite inimical and counterproductive to doing and achieving what we desire to achieve. And so, for example, regret, right? It's like, oh, I regret doing X, Y, and Z. I should have done this instead. Maybe the reason why we have this forms of regret or pangs of conscience is maybe a fear of punishment from some sort of external authority besides ourselves. Maybe also the modern man is too self-conscious, thinks about himself and his conscience too much. Like, maybe men of the past were more barbaric but more clean conscious about things, right? And so, like, for myself personally speaking, my ideal is kind of the ancient Hellenic, the ancient Greeks, right? So probably one of the best, quote, history books that I enjoy is the Iliad. Is, what was discussed, what wasn't discussed, what were the human emotions, and it looked like the human emotions, at least in the Iliad, were like a combination of pride, anger, the desire for revenge. Like, justice is not really a concept. Justice is probably more of a modern notion. It's kind of, justice is almost like the legalized version of revenge, I think. And what drives Achilles is, revenge. What is prize in society? Strength, courage, formidableness and stuff like that. And even if you think about like modern day male aesthetics, right? Like, everyone wants to get super duper swole and look like the Hulk or look like orcs, right? But even if you read the ancient Greek descriptions of the heroes, ain't nobody talks about six packs or huge pecs and stuff like that. It's more of like broad shoulders, back, strong hands, legs, stuff like that. Tends to be kind of more of the ideal. And also, like, back then too, and I think this is where we kind of suffer in modern day times, is that strength, physical strength, was as a means towards battle, towards war, towards conquest, towards PvP, right? Player versus player, or fighter versus fighter, 1v1. Because ultimately, you think about even the Iliad, right? It's the Trojans versus the other side. And what's important at the end of the day is it's not even so much like armies that battle. It's kind of more, it really comes down to like who has the strongest warrior, our strongest warrior versus your strongest warrior, right? And so, you know, like Achilles versus Hector, right? That's the apex battle. And even early on in the story, you know, rather than having all the men die, right? It's like, okay, our strongest fighter versus your strongest fighter. I forget exactly who the characters were, but it was supposed to, I think it was supposed to be Paris, right, from the Trojans, you know, versus the king. Was it the king? Anyways, but then, you know, Paris runs away like a wimp, which essentially provokes the war. And so I think maybe what we should do then is think about ancient ideals as a motivator, or getting rid of the dismotivators which prevent us from achieving our life goals in the present.